What's up YouTube, and welcome back to the Evolved Jeeping channel. On this week's video, we're going to be transforming the hood of my 2019 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon into a self-sustainable charging solar panel. This is the Lensun Solar 40-watt solar panel kit designed specifically for the Jeep Wrangler JL and Gladiator JT with the Rubicon hood. Lensun Solar is a solar panel company that has designed and developed a silicone-based flexible solar panel that is offered in vehicle-specific kits. Basically, what they have done is they have cut and molded different solar panels that are designed to mount on the hoods of different vehicles. If you're wondering what vehicles are available, because they do offer a wide variety of different makes, models, and years, what you can do is click on the link right here or the link below, go to their website, enter your vehicle information, and you can see if they have a kit available for your vehicle. When I was on their website, they covered everything from Toyotas, 4Runners, Hondas, Subarus, Chevys. They pretty much had kits available for everything I could think of that would want this type of device. For the Jeep Wranglers and the Jeep Gladiators, there's actually a few different options available depending on the style of hood you have. So say you are a Sport or Sarah and you have the flat hood, they have a kit available for that covers pretty much the majority of the top half of the hood. If you are a Rubicon, like myself, they actually have two kits available. This one right here, which is the 45-watt kit, and they also have a 60-watt kit. The only difference between the two kits is that the 60-watt kit is a little bit longer at the front edge of the panel. Based on that, and also based on the size or the wattages I noticed for the Sport hood, I assume that the larger the panel, the higher the wattage, and the higher the wattage, the faster it will charge your device. This is just an assumption. I'm not an expert at solar panels, but it's kind of just what I've kind of concluded based on what I saw on their website. So they cover the Sport, the Rubicons, and for all the Mojaves and the 392s, they also have a panel designed for your vehicle. So they have basically gone ahead and covered all of the different OEM hoods that are available for the Jeep Wranglers. And I think this is super impressive because, they could have went ahead and just designed one panel and offered it for the entire Jeep market, but they actually went ahead and designed different panels for different hoods. So super impressed by that. And speaking of covering a wide range of different shapes and styles, they also have gone ahead and covered some different industries. So not only have they covered the automotive world, but they also have different shapes and styles available for the marine application, as well as ATVs, RVs. They pretty much offer everything that you need for different applications. And speaking of different applications, they also offer some universal kits. So say you are somebody that can't use one of these vehicle-specific kits. Maybe you have something on the hood that prevents that from happening, but you're an overlander who has a hard case tent on the top. There is a universal kit that is designed to mount on the top of that. So basically, they come in different shapes and sizes, and you can simply go ahead and mount it anywhere on your vehicle, depending on your application. So really cool to see that they've covered vehicles and covered different needs for different people. So a couple things that are also unique about this kit, or at least about this product, is not only is it flexible and custom cut, but it is also a plug-and-play installation. There's no custom wiring needed. All you have to do is take the kit, plug it in, and install it, and then you're good to go. I think based off what I read online, it is pretty much like a 4-step installation. Because it is such a simple installation, and as I usually do in all my videos, we will be installing this to show you guys how it goes. This should be a fairly short video. So it should be a fairly short video to show you guys how to install it. Another thing that's really unique about this product is it's also kind of a self-sustainable product, meaning that once you've installed it, you kind of have to just forget about it. You don't have to do anything with it. It is designed with a brain that is designed to turn it on and off depending on the vehicle's battery voltage. This is a really nice feature because you don't have to remember to turn it off. Say this was a turn on and off thing and you left it on too long and it overcharged your battery and damaged it. It's good that it doesn't do that. And also the reverse, if you forgot to turn it on and your battery died, then that would kind of suck too, because you know you have the product, but it wasn't functioning. This kit comes with its own brain hub, which I will show you in a few seconds. And that brain hub is designed to, turn it on and on based on the voltage needed. So really impressed that this kit is also a self-sustainable item that you basically just install and forget it. So as mentioned, we are going to do the installation, and the first thing we're going to do first thing we're going to do before installing this is we're actually going to go ahead and flip this camera around and show you guys what comes with this kit and all the parts you need to get it installed. This is everything that comes with this kit. First thing we're going to take a look at is, of course, the main part, which is the solar panel. I have to say, pretty impressed by this solar panel. The finish of it is really nice. It has like this dimpled texture to it. I'm not sure why they do that. Maybe that helps with collecting the solar rays, but it looks really clean. They've got their Lensun Solar logo on one side, and then on the other side, they've got a part number, which is probably used to identify the panel itself. As for the edges of the panel, this was something I had concerned about. It is super clean. There's no rough edge. It's not sharp or anything. They did a really good job at either cutting or molding this, however they do it, but it looks really nice. You can see here, these 3 rectangular boxes. I believe those are the actual solar panels. It just shows that the solar panels don't actually use the whole shape. There's actually some dead space here. Obviously, that sucks because it would have been nice to see them kind of concave this to get more collection area and also probably improve the wattages. But I guess that's probably a limitation to it. You do have some gaps between it. I guess that's part of something you have to do. Up here, we have our connection point for the cord. It is in this black shaped thing here. I don't know what you want to call that. It does look like it's siliconed down onto the surface. And as you can see, the silicone is kind of coming out, which is okay because it, shows me that it's super weatherproof and, probably going to prevent moisture from getting in there. Then we have our cord, which we have a good length of cord. On one end of the cord, we have 2 connections. One is a male connection, one is a female connection. These are red and black, so I'm assuming red might be power and black might be ground. Really like the fact that they used 2 different types of plugs, like a male and female, versus using a male and a male, because this way you really can't screw up plugging in and, don't cause any damage to the system. The next thing we're going to take a look at after the solar panel is the second main part, which is the control hub, or what I will call the brain. So this is basically what controls the entire system. It converts the power into something that can charge, also probably turns on and off depending on the system. One thing I didn't know that this does, but it also has a Bluetooth signal, which you can actually use with an app on your phone to set up the system. So I'm going to have to show you guys how that works. Kind of impressed by that they did that, and can't wait to show you guys what we can do with the app. The box itself is an aluminum, I believe, box. On the back, we got some cooling fin section. We got mounting locations. On the front, we've got, some design details and then a sticker. The sticker says the logo, model number, actually instructions on how to connect it, and then some other details related to all the cords coming out of the bottom. Also has some indications here that indicate what these lights do. So the red light that you see there is used to indicate load. The yellow light is used to indicate battery. And then the green light is used to indicate panel. I'm not sure what the panel is. That's something we're going to have to discover as we get into this. For the cords on the bottom, we have a few options. The first little one here is this black one. I believe that is actually your Bluetooth antenna. So that is what's going to help transmit the signal to your mobile device. The next cord we have is this large one, which actually splits into 2. And as you can see, we've got 2 different connections, which are probably used to connect the solar panel. So that is your connection point for your solar panels. Then over here on the far, left, we've got our power support for our battery. So that's going to attach to the battery, as well as a fuse in there. So that's nice to see. Next wire from that side that we've got is our ground wire. So that is used to connect to the battery for the ground. And then the two last wires that are in the middle here are what I believe is another place that you can connect a power support to run off this system. So instead of charging your vehicle battery, you can actually use the system to charge something else. I have a feeling this is something where you would like maybe plug a fridge into, or maybe even a big power source support. Not really sure. I have a feeling we're not going to use that in today's installation, but that is a secondary source that's available to that. And that is indicated by this mode right here. I'm, again, not sure what exactly that is. So after that, the next part we're going to take a look at is this long white tube or white piece of paper. What this actually is, and I will unroll it in the installation, it is basically a satin black protective decal that is designed to go on your hood. Basically, they want you to apply this to the hood first before applying the solar panel. I have a feeling this has happened because when people were just applying the solar panel on the hood, they were having an issue where either the panel was vibrating a little bit, which was scratching up the paint, or they were having an issue where the tape actually damaged the paint. So now they've gone ahead and provided these protective film guards, which are used to be put on first. Obviously, on my vehicle, we are actually not going to be installing this because I already do have 2 layers of vinyl on the hood, so I'm not going to need that, but I will show you guys the steps to install it. So I'll show you guys what you need to do to get that installed. Very simple, but I will make sure to show you that. The next 2 things we have in this kit are kind of accessories for mounting. In this bag, we've got some zip ties and some stick-on zip tie mounts. So this is basically used to secure the cords and make sure that they're not rolling around. So that's what we have there. And then the next thing we have is 2 bags of double-sided tape. So what I was surprised is the fact that the double-sided tape came separate and not already on the back of the panel. I'm kind of disappointed in this for 2 reasons. First, if this tape's not installed, it means another step that we have to do for the installation. So I would have loved to have seen it on the back to make the installation better. Also, by them not installing this, it means another option for user error while installing it, where if they had gone ahead and installed it, we could have ensured it's correct. So that's one little thing I don't like the fact that they've done, but we are going to have to go ahead and apply this to the back side of that to attach that to the factory hood. Now that I've gone ahead and showed you guys what comes with this kit, we're going to go ahead and flip the camera around and show you the first step of the installation, which involves this piece right here. The first step of the installation is to install the protective decal. Before I get into showing you guys how to install this, I do have to mention one important factor about doing the installation, and is actually something recommended by the manufacturer. What they recommend is when you do this installation, that you do this installation in direct sunlight, which you can see I am in right now. And when you do this, also make sure that the temperature is above 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 degrees Celsius. The reason they suggest this is because having the temperature warmer is going to help the double-sided tape adhere to both the solar panel and the hood and prevent the chance of the solar panel coming up and smacking the windshield, or worse, getting thrown off the vehicle. So they kind of do this as a disclaimer to ensure that the panel stays secure. For myself, unfortunately, fortunately, it is sunny, but unfortunately, it is still a little cooler than 60 degrees. So when I'm doing my installation, I'm actually going to go ahead and heat the double-sided tape up with a heat gun to help it adhere. Tell you the truth, or again, if you're above 60 degrees, you probably don't need to do this, but it's not a bad thing to do. Honestly, at Donut Enterprise, whenever we're sticking anything onto a vehicle, we tend to heat up the double-sided tape just to ensure it. It's kind of a precaution. Also, some cases we actually use adhesive promoter. For myself, I'm not going to use adhesive promoter. I'm just going to use the heat gun, and that should be enough to ensure it stays stuck. So yeah, again, either follow the directions or use a heat gun to help that do it. Now that you guys know that part or that disclaimer, we can get into installing this decal. The first step you have to go ahead and do is you actually have to go ahead and clean the hood using an alcohol solution. For this, I either use isopropyl alcohol, which is like 90% alcohol, and I actually dilute it with some water and then do that. Or you can go ahead and use 70% alcohol, which will also work. You don't want to use 100% alcohol straight. You do want to dilute it a little bit because it can damage your paint. So make sure that you water down the 90% or use the 70% when cleaning the surface. Once you have the surface clean, we can then get into applying the decal. Once you've got the hood cleaned, you're going to go ahead and open up the protective decal onto the hood. So simply just open it up, lay it down there. What you'll notice here is that the vinyl or the decal already has a cutout that is designed to go around the hood tie down or the windshield rest point. So that's going to go pretty much around this location. One thing I did notice about this vinyl after opening it is that this decal does not have the application film on it. An application film is basically a clear film that is applied on top of a decal to make it easier to install. You know, whenever you order those brand logos and you apply them to your vehicle, it's the clear label that when you peel the graphic on, it's the decal stays on that clear label, and then you stick it on the vehicle and then peel the clear off. This doesn't have it, which is going to make this installation a little bit more difficult. And the reason is because what you have to do is simply grab the vinyl itself and pull it up. It's going to work, but it's going to be a little more challenging because, as you can see, there's a couple things that happen. The vinyl can stick on itself. The vinyl, when you lay it down, is going to have all these ripples in it. It's just going to be a little bit more harder. Honestly, would have loved to seen the brand provide that application film on it. Tell you the truth, I'm probably going to send them an email telling them that they should apply that to make it easier for the consumer, because I know a lot of you who are not experienced with vinyl are going to have difficulties applying this graphic. So yeah, definitely recommend that they do that. For this, basically, because we have no film, we're going to go ahead and simply peel this entire thing off. Then, using two people, because with this size vinyl, it's definitely going to be easier with two people, you're going to simply go ahead and lay it or hold it into the location. So you're going to line these up with those tie downs. Once you feel like you have it in the right location, you're then going to go ahead and press the middle section down. Just do a line right down the middle. After you've done that, you can simply just rest the rest, and then using either your hand or, if you have it, a squeegee. And if you don't have a squeegee, you can also use a credit card wrapped in a towel. You're going to simply go ahead and work your way, applying the side down towards the edge. So you want to start from the center, work your way to the right, then you're going to work from the center again and work your way to the left. You want to do this to ensure you get all the air lines out. So you're going to push all of these air lines that occur out towards the side. Not too hard, but I know for anybody who's not experienced with it, it will be a little bit of a challenge. Definitely hope that they start putting the application film on it, because it's going to be a lot easier for you guys. So, as you can see, I'm not doing this because I already have the vinyl on my hood, so I don't need this decal to protect the paint on my vehicle. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is jump over to the next step of this installation. The next step to the installation is to attach the double-sided tape to the backside of the solar panel. The first step to doing this is you're going to go ahead and spray the back of this solar panel with the alcohol solution to ensure it is clean. You want to make sure you do that just because a lot of these plastic devices will have like a mold release on them, and sometimes the double-sided tape won't stick. So you want to ensure you clean the surface before applying the tape. What you're going to do is, once you've cleaned this, you're going to take the double-sided tape and, using a pair of scissors or an X-Acto knife, you're going to cut sections of tape to cover the entire edge of the panel. You want to work around the panel and leave about maybe a 1/4 of an inch or an inch of edge before applying the tape. You want to make sure to go all the way around to ensure that none of the edges can lift up. As you can see here, what I am doing is I'm actually using my heat gun to heat up the surface as well as the tape to ensure it sticks. Again, I'm only doing this because the temperature is below 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 degrees Celsius, so I just am doing this as a precaution to help the tape stick. Once you finish going around the edge, you're then going to take the leftover double-sided tape and simply run strips down the middle to secure the center of the panel. Again, still using the heat gun to heat the tape up. Once we have the tape applied to the back of the solar panel, next step is to simply go ahead and apply the solar panel to the hood. First step is to remove all the backing from the double-sided tape. So you simply go ahead and do all that. Then you're going to go ahead and clean the surface of your hood once again using the alcohol solution. So you want to make sure you do that again. Even if you've applied the vinyl, you want to clean the vinyl before applying it. Just a safety step. It's to make sure that there is no residue or anything that's going to prevent the tape from sticking. So for me, now that I've got the tape opened and peeled, I'm simply going to go ahead and just heat it a little bit to get the tape to adhere a little bit better. Once I'm satisfied with that, I'm then going to go ahead and simply flip it over and place it on the hood. So you want to make sure you're somewhat centered on location. So you want to be as far up on the edge of the hood as possible, and then kind of just get the spacing right after that. Okay, so, right. Yeah. Once you're happy with the location, which I believe I am, I'm not 100%, you're going to simply then go and apply pressure to all the tape to get it to stick down. Just apply a firm pressure throughout the whole thing, kind of rubbing it down in all locations until you're happy with that. Now that we've got the solar panel applied to the hood, we're going to go ahead and pop the hood so that we can install the wiring harness / control hub. The first step to wiring the system up is to simply go ahead and determine the location of where you want to mount the control hub. For myself, because I already have a bunch of accessories on the Harlequin, I was kind of limited on space inside the engine bay. So what I decided, which I think is a good solution, but I'm not 100% sure if it's perfect, is that I would simply go ahead and take some of the extra double-sided tape and simply secure it to the top of my battery. Right now it's firm, it's in a location. I feel like it's not going to move around. I think it's going to stay. And I think this is an okay solution. But as I said, I am not an expert at this. So if anybody has experience with this device, or, has any concerns about where I mounted, feel free to comment below so that I can see it and I can remove it if I feel or you guys state that this is very unsafe. I think it's fine, but again, not an expert. And to be honest, this might just be a temporary solution for this video. I might relocate this later when I have a little bit more time to work with it. Once you have determined the location on where you're going to mount your control up, which again is going to vary depending on a vehicle, the next part is to simply connect the wires. The first wire that we're going to go ahead and connect is the wires for the solar panel. So that are these two wires right here. There is a male plug and a female plug, and these are going to attach to the wires that came out of the solar panel on the outside of the vehicle. So you're going to see here you have a male and a female. To plug these in, all you're going to do is simply take the male one and simply slide it into the female one and then close it up. Before I do that, I do need to go ahead and figure out a route for this wire to go from the outside of the hood to the inside. On the Jeep Wrangler, what I'm probably going to do is right in the center of this, I'm going to bring the wire in. Then I'm going to secure it in that location, run it along this channel here, come down around this corner, come out of this little foam spot right here, and then simply run it in here to plug it in. Again, this is going to depend on your vehicle. Some people might not be as easy as that. Some vehicles might be a little bit more challenging. Once we've got that connected, we're then ready to go ahead and connect the device and system to a battery. All you have to do for that is simply take the power wire, which has a fuse on it, run that along however you want, and tap it to the battery. Then take the negative and do the same, connect it to the negative. This is pretty much the last steps to the installation. The only thing I do recommend is once you've got those wires run, make sure to secure them so that they don't move around. You want to keep them away from any heat and just keep them, nice and secured and nice and clean. Once you've got all those wires done, you can simply go ahead and close the hood. So I'm going to go ahead and complete that installation. Then I'm going to close the hood. And I'm going to come back to show you guys how the app works because the installation of this is pretty much finished. As you can see, I finished wiring up this system, connected it to the battery, and everything seems to be functioning from what I can tell, because there was some lights that turned on the system. At this point, because everything is secured to the hood and wires connected, the installation of the system is finished. It was super simple to do. There is one more step that they do recommend, and it's something I'm going to do later tonight when I get the Jeep back to the apartment, is they suggest that once you have this installed, that you actually put some weight on the solar panel and let that sit for some time to help the tape stick to the hood. So basically, when I go home, I'm probably going to go ahead, put down some of the packaging foam, then add some weight and just let that sit overnight. It's just kind of a an extra step just to ensure that it does stick down. But again, installation is pretty much finished at this point. Couple things I want to mention. I mean, there's nothing really to mention about the installation. That was super simple to do. And again, it's going to vary depending on your vehicle. One thing I did notice after the step is that when you are installing the decal, they do provide you with the squeegee. So what you want to do is use that squeegee to squeegee the decal down. Oh, I guess I should mention the one thing I don't like about the installation was that decal where they didn't provide the adhesive, or not the adhesive, the application film to make it easier. So Lensun, definitely add that into your product. It'll make it a lot easier for consumers to install. So now that this product is installed, as I did mention, it is pretty much self-sustainable. It pretty much turns on and off when it needs to, but there is one thing I can show you, and that is the mobile app. So what you're gonna do is grab your phone and you're gonna download the app called Solar Life. So you can get that on Apple and on Android. You're gonna open up the app once you've installed it. Once you open it up, it's gonna give you pretty much, just a monitoring. So you can't really customize how it works. I thought maybe that's what it was going to be. But what it does is it basically shows you how your system is operating. So it gives you the PV, which is, I guess, I think the PV is the external source that can charge on a battery. Then you have your main battery, and it shows you here your voltage, your ampage, and your normal temperature. Then you also have load. Load, I believe, is the power that's being collected from this. So right now it's discharging and it's not charging the device. So that's because everything's all operating. But very interesting to see how this all works. In this app, you also do have parameter settings. So actually you do have a little bit of things. You have device parameters, battery parameters, where basically you get an advanced system. All of this, I'm going to leave the same because I don't know that much. You have load parameters, some extra things in there. You can click on the monitoring of the battery and you can see more details about how it was charging, how it was running. I don't have anything because I just installed this, but it is kind of a log that shows you all that. You can do PV as well to see how much it's charging, as well as load. So lots of cool little features in there. At the bottom, you have communication choices. You click on that, that shows you where you can commute. So if you had multiple of these, you can actually see how they're doing. You also have other actions on the other side. In here, it's just like change language, instructions, password, clear history, demo mode, little things that you can do, but nothing that I'm going to even get into in this thing, because basically what this does is it basically just tracks how the battery is performing, how the system performing, and kind of just gives you their oil light. So it's really cool that they have that, but not necessarily something you customize or something you need to do. It is self-sustainable by itself. So really cool how that works. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this system right here, about the app. Overall, guys, as you saw in some of those clips there, the system looks great on the Jeep. The color is not pure black. So as you can see on satin black, you do kind of still see it. You definitely see it in different light. Overall, the quality of the product's pretty good. Price point wasn't bad for what you're getting. I do like the idea that it does keep my battery, charged. Also do like that I could now run, maybe a cooler in the back. That might be a hint for something that's coming, and not drain my battery because this is going to help charge it. Yeah. Overall, impressed by it. I really love that they are designing vehicle-specific kits that, some of them actually give some style to the vehicle. For example, the kit for the sport hood on the Jeep Wrangler JL actually is really nice because it covers like this whole section and kind of gives you this look that I have on my hood now. So really impressed by that. Yeah, overall, pretty cool product for anybody who's looking for something to help charge your battery. If you're interested in picking up any of these, I will put the links below as well, especially this kit in particular. If you have any questions or comments about anything I have shown in today's video, feel free to post it below and I'll do the best to answer it. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Also, hit that hype button Again, new feature that YouTube added, and it helps my video get exposed more. Yeah, got nothing else to say. So to wrap this video up like I always do, please make sure to keep evolving, and we'll see you guys on the next video.